Thank you, Warden. Number 17, bylaw 2025-66, the appointment of the auditor. The general nature of my conflict is my daughter is a partner with the firm that also submitted a proposal to be the county auditors.
Councillor Klopp.
Thank you. On the agenda item 13 bracket 2 and also the bylaw 2025-069, I have a perceived pecuniary interest. Our farm has a rental agreement on the property.
All right, thank you. Is there any other pecuniary interest to declare at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to the minutes of our previous meeting. If there's any errors or omissions to address, and if not, I'd be looking for a mover to adopt those minutes. Councillor Vanstone and Councillor Finch would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Is there councillor comments from anyone this morning? Seeing none, we're going to go on to our consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.6. Is there any one of those items that anybody would like to pull from the list and speak to? And seeing none, then I'd be asking for a motion to receive these items for information, and that is Councillor Bazinet and seconded by Councillor Noel. Those in favor? That is carried. Under social and property services, we have the child care startup funds, and Cheryl Patience is with us this morning. Welcome, Cheryl. And when you're ready, you go ahead and present for us.
Thank you very much, Warden Heffer, and through you to County Council. Just wanted to provide some highlights on 8.1. So CEY Childcare Huron, which is a franchisee of Eyes Childcare, has applied for startup and infrastructure funding for renovations and equipment at 349 Main Street in Exeter in the amount of $585,000. And that building is the former Center for Employment and Learning, just if people are wondering about the space. The new center would be named the CEY Garrison Center, and it would provide infant, toddler, and preschool care with projected opening in fall 2026. The project contributes to meeting the Ministry of Education's requirement for 86,000 spaces between 2019 and 2026, and also meets our 264 net new space goal within Huron County. Huron County did receive $3.87 million in Provincial Startup and Infrastructure Fund. This has to be committed by the end of December 2025, and projects do need to be completed by the end of December 2026. The startup agreement with CEY Childcare Huron does ensure that the timelines are met and that the commitment to serve within Exeter is maintained. Exeter has been identified as priority community within the county's directed growth plan due to limited childcare access and the population growth that's occurring there. And this funding does represent a time-sensitive opportunity to expand access to quality childcare in Huron County, addressing community growth needs and making use of the provincial and federal investments dedicated to childcare expansion. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about that.
Thank you, Cheryl. Is there any questions? Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, this is a great news story. We appreciate all the work that's gone into getting us to this point, and I'm looking forward to this being approved at County Council because I think it's important for us to recognize the need for this. Thank you very much for your work on this, Cheryl.
Pass Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you to Cheryl. Yeah, certainly it's a good news information at this time. The question I had was, the funding that we get from the province every year gets passed through the county to the daycare services we have. And certainly municipal daycares do not make any money. They are unfortunately a bit of a money pit themselves. But at the end of the year, there's quite often funding that comes from the county to help offset some of those expenses. Will these monies that are being used for this startup come out of that fund? So will those monies be reduced that go to the services we already have in Huron County?
Cheryl, please.
Thank you, through you, Warden. No, these dollars are separate and apart. They're strictly for growth and to meet that 86,000 space target through that federal provincial agreement. So it's separate and apart, and it has to be used only for infrastructure and space development. So not at all the operational dollars that we would flow to centers for the operational costs.
Thank you for that.
Okay. Any other questions for Cheryl? Not seeing any other questions. We do have a prepared motion that deals with receiving a report, approving the startup funding, and entering into an agreement. Is someone willing to put that forward? And that's Councillor Finch, and past Warden Ginn would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Cheryl. And Cheryl, you're here for the next additional startup funding and report that we had in our package. And Cheryl is here for any questions if you would have any on that report. Councillor Anderson, please.
Thank you, Warden. Just for clarification, when they get the startup money, does that preclude that the children attending are just from that municipality, or can they be from the surrounding municipalities as well? And does it include possibly before and after school programs?
Go ahead, Cheryl.
Thank you, Warden, and through you. We try to have an open system, particularly because this funding is provincial and federal dollars. So we would suggest that it's open to all municipalities. Some childcare centers do have preference for local families. However, our preference would be that it's open to all because it's more of a provincial federal system. So it would be available care for anyone that's willing to go to that childcare center. And then for your second question, this funding is through the Canada-wide Early Learning and Childcare Agreement. So that's the program that speaks to 0 to 6-year-olds with a preference for 0 to 4-year-olds, which excludes before and after care. So before and after care falls under the responsibility of the school board outside of this childcare funding. So the two are slightly different.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Cheryl on this? Councillor Heffer, please.
Thank you, Warden. It's not really a question. I just want to thank you, Cheryl, for the work that you've done on behalf of the county in this, and it's very, very much appreciated. Thank you.
Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, and I would suggest that this is a good news story as well, and I'd be prepared to move the motion.
Councillor Finch would make the motion, and Councillor McClellan would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Cheryl. And Cheryl is here again for questions on the growth plan for childcare. So Cheryl, if there's any questions for her? Not seeing any questions on this, then there's a recommended motion if someone would put that forward. So Councillor Finch would put that motion forward. Past Warden McNeil would second that motion. Those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Cheryl. We're moving on in the agenda to emergency services, and the community paramedicine program funding is the next on the agenda, and Jeff Horseman is here to present that for us, please.
Good morning. Through you, Mr. Warden. I'm not going to go through the full report. This is a good news story. After multiple years of temporary funding, the province recently announced that the CPLTC funding envelope, so the community paramedic long-term care program, has become a permanent funded program. So that does mean that both of our programs, or both of our funding envelopes that we currently have through the smaller one through Ontario Health became permanent funding just over a year ago, and the one through the Ministry of Long-Term Care has now been announced as permanent. So that will cement our CP program within our department as a permanent program now, a permanent operational program with our CP medics, with roughly a $1.4 million investment in our service from the two funding envelopes. The one thing that I did want to caution council on and make a point of bringing forward is that Both of these funding envelopes are now sitting at a static funding. And I think that we need to remind everybody to continue to work with with AMO and the OAPC, the Ontario Association of Paramedic Chiefs, to lobby that this funding has some type of inflationary attachment to it as we move forward, or sooner or later, we won't be able to run the program within the funding dollars that have been allotted to us. But I'm happy to answer any other questions.
Well, thank you for that information, Jeff, and I'll go to council if there's any questions for Jeff on this report. Past Warden McNeil, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden. And to Jeff, have there been any discussions with the government regarding having it indexed and on an inflation basis, Jeff? Because that just makes common sense.
Go ahead, Jeff, please.
Through you, Mr. Warden. What has been announced by the provincial government is that the funding formula, it will be 100% funded, but the funding formula will be reviewed before their next fiscal year. So March 31st, our current funding that's in place until March 31st will not change. We have not been told what the funding formula breakdown will look like as of next fiscal year at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions for Jeff? And if there is not, then I'd look for direction from council on this. So past Warden Ginn, for motion forward
Yes, I'd make that motion.
to receive the report, and seconded by Councillor Finch. Those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you, Jeff. Under economic development, I have a welcome to make. And the economic development team would like to officially welcome Heather Waterworth as the new business advisor with the Huron Business Center team. With more than 15 years of experience in branding, communications, and business strategy, Heather has experience guiding business owners at every stage to help them untangle the big questions of marketing, strategy, and operations, while also making sure the small stuff actually works. Throughout her career, Heather's focus has been on making small town feel big time in a way that's honest, smart, and deeply human. She's collaborated with businesses, municipalities, economic development departments, and nonprofits across Ontario, and she is also the creator of Homegrown Gathering, a regional event series that connects and celebrates rural female identifying entrepreneurs. Heather lives in Harriston, just 10 minutes from the Huron County border, with her guitar-building husband and 2 eccentric kids, where most days are a mix of juggling family life, riding her bike, getting creative in the kitchen, and keeping her old house from falling apart. So Heather, we very much want to welcome you to Huron County, and sounds like you have a very exciting life. So welcome, Heather. So under economic development, we have the supporting local youth program, and Rick is here to answer questions if there's any questions on this report. And if there's no questions, then I'd be looking for some direction from council. So past Warden McNeil to receive the report, and Councillor Finch would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Rick. The 2025 Summer Company Program Report, and Trish Denemy is here to present that. So welcome, Trish.
Thank you, Mr. Warden, through you. The full report was provided, which is a detailed overview of the program for our 2025 intake, but I'd like to provide a bit of a brief summary. The Summer Company Program is designed to inspire students aged 15 to 29 to explore entrepreneurship and equip them with tools they need to be successful. Participants learn how to start and operate a business while receiving mentorship, training, and a $3,000 grant to help with startup costs. This year, the program was promoted through a comprehensive multi-channel marketing strategy, reaching youth, parents, educators, and the broader community. Promotion began in March by delivering 17 in-class presentations across high schools within the county. These sessions not only promoted the program, but also introduced students to entrepreneurship as a career pathway and connected them with local business support resources. Additional outreach included community information sessions, partnership engagement, media coverage, and active promotion on social media. Applicants submitted a business plan and a cash flow projection with provided templates, as well as their current resume. They then participated in an interview process, and a consistent scoring matrix was used to determine applicants and the final selection. Throughout the summer, participants completed 6 virtual training sessions, bi-weekly one-on-one business advisory meetings, a site visit, and a minimum of 280 logged hours working both in and on their business. And the participant feedback consistently highlighted 3 key themes: growth, experience, and support. These outcomes demonstrated how the program not only helps these youth launch their businesses, but provides them with employment skills and strengthens our local economy by fostering the next generation of business owners. Thank you. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you, Tricia. Council, is there anything you want to make comment on? Councillor Basnet, please.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Warden, just thank you for doing this. This is so important. It's such an important program for our youth to, learn how to start up a business and keep them in here in county to hopefully continue on with the business that you're providing the skills for them to learn from. So thank you for this.
Anything else from council? So Trish, just want to say some good comments received from those that enroll in the program, and it's good work being done. So with that, I'm going to ask if we could have someone receive this report. So Councillor Basnet and Councillor Heffer would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Tricia. Natural gas expansion in Ontario, and Chris Watson is here to present this for us. So Chris, welcome, and go ahead when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Warden and Council. I thought I would just add a few comments to provide a bit of context around the report that's in front of you today. That report is essentially about supporting a 3rd phase of the natural gas expansion program. Just to give you a bit of context about that program, it was created to help expand access to natural gas to areas of Ontario that currently do not have access. It recognizes the challenges faced by many rural, northern, and Indigenous communities to afford the upfront costs to extend the infrastructure to their communities. And recognizing the fact that there may not be a financial business case for some of these expansions. The Natural Gas Expansion Program, or NGEP, as you'll see in your report, provides some funding to enable the distribution system expansion where it would otherwise not occur without that support. So for those projects, the cost of building the infrastructure often exceeds the projected revenue that would be generated from customers. The funding itself comes from a $1 a month surcharge that is applied to natural gas bills of customers from around the province. Through phases 1 and 2 of the program, it moved about 60 projects forward, 6 of which were located in southwestern Ontario. So the Ontario government now is currently soliciting input to gauge support for this 3rd phase of the expansion program. And the report before you today contains a motion to support this additional intake. In terms of timing, it's expected that the government would make a decision on whether or not to initiate the 3rd phase sometime in early 2026. Following that, we would expect the opportunity to propose projects to be funded under the program later that year. So just to be clear, the motion before you today is just to support the initiation of the 3rd phase. We're not quite at the stage where we would be looking for or taking applications for expansion projects at this time. So with that, I'll stop my my comments and just throw it to you, Mr. Warden, if there's any questions.
Thank you, Chris. Is there questions? Councillor Harding, please.
I want to thank Chris for bringing this to our attention. I have been involved in making applications for help with natural gas to come to Howick in phase 1 and phase 2. And it was told by the companies that make sure you stick with us and apply for phase 3. So I was really glad to see this, and I've been talking to Chris about this, and Howick is studying the templates that Chris has presenting, and we're going to add or to it or change it a little bit to suit Howick Township. We have only gas that I know of in Howick in 3 locations, and it's just on our border. And it's always been the problem that new installation has to be covered. They're not making the people that already have natural gas pay for this. And that's changing a little bit in this, but still a very small amount. And so I look forward to getting the support of Huron County and moving ahead here because of the situation that Howick is in. And it is now in the hands of my staff that are seeing about getting a proposal submitted to go with Huron County's to get some attention for this for Howick. And it's I've only been working at it into my 8th year now, and so it's they keep telling me not to give up, so that is exactly what I am doing here, and hope that I can garner some other support for our efforts. Thank you very much, Chris, and for helping us with this.
Thank you for those comments, Councillor Harding. Past Warden Ginn, please.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Warden. I'll certainly support this. I too have been involved in a number of expansion projects. The Ontario Energy Board regulates this, and as Councillor Harding has stated, you can't subsidize one operation by existing customers. Pretty foreign to a farmer to say that you can't use your existing farm to subsidize the purchase of the next one. It's very foreign, I think, in rural areas. But the problem with it is, it just puts our businesses that don't have gas at a competitive disadvantage. I have seen farmers relocate chicken barns to a road that has gas rather than pay the cost of propane to heat an existing one. So it's a major issue. And although we all want to see these carbon come down, it needs to come down across the entire province together, not on the backs of rural residents.
Thank you. Any other comments? Past Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Chris, we certainly are aware of the fact that Huron County has lost out on some major business opportunities because there wasn't natural gas available. More my concern is that at the time, it was going to be the expansion of the upstream locations to be able to have enough gas flow through. So if they're going to increase those, is there any way with Huron County supporting this that happens, that extra expansion capacity is there for when Huron County needs it again, and that upstream doesn't use it and more development happens there, so that we're supporting something but it all gets used up before it gets to us? That would be a concern going forward.
Through you, Mr. Warden.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I think that's a very important point. And I think we need to make those comments and concerns clear to make sure that the capacity is there throughout the network. To your point, Councillor, we can look at individual pieces of the network, but if we don't have the enough capacity at the source, as well as the size of the pipes to get the quantity of gas that we may need for the type of industry that we want to expand or we want to attract out here, then we may not be any further ahead and find ourselves again in a situation where we're looking at a 7-8 figure bill in order to bring the gas that an industry needs to the site where we want to locate them. So again, I think at this point, the best path forward is to ensure that we make those comments very clear, and try to ensure that the message gets through.
Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, I think it's a very important project and motion we should be supporting simply because it benefits both rural and urban. I see the OFA would probably be very much in support of this. I know we have an issue in South Huron where a chicken farmer wants gas, doesn't run down that road. So I think if he wants to expand, he's going to be limited. So I think we need to support that aspect of it. Farmers are drying their own corn, whatever else they need. So going from what we are now to getting more gas, I think is a very important thing we need to support. So I would be fully in support of this.
Okay, last call. Any other comments, questions for Chris? So Chris, it is very important to support initiatives like this whenever possible, and it sounds like the sentiment of council. And I'm not sure if you were looking for some kind of award for the longest motion possible, but that is a motion there, and
I'll change a few things.
in essence, it's to receive and approve the motion with the actions included. So Councillor Harding and Councillor Anderson would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Mr. Warden.
It's our 2025 year-to-date financial report time, and Mike is here to present this report for us. Go ahead, Mike, when you're ready.
Thank you, Warden. Not going to go into too many details on this. It's still very early in the year. Just really wanted to bring forward and highlight a few pressures that we are having. With no surprise, winter maintenance is obviously having some impacts on our budgets and probably everybody sitting at the table as well. So we are forecasting an initial deficit this year for the year based on some of those pressures. So really just a couple pressure areas, public works, property services. We're seeing it within the homes itself. And on a different topic, we're also seeing some pressures within EMS with respect to sick time and some leaves. So really, I just, some of these pressures truly highlight the importance of some of the discussions that we're going to be having in the next couple of weeks with our upcoming service delivery reviews. We have some challenging budget times ahead of us going 26 and beyond. We're not going to have the level of surplus that we have had in the past to help mitigate, our levy increases. What we brought in last year was 3.25%, just overall levy mitigation based on surplus. Those dollars aren't there. So we will have some tough discussions ahead of us. And that's really where I look forward to having the day and a half with council with the service review and just have those conversations about our service levels and where we want to be. During budget's not the time to have those discussions. So I'm really thankful that we're having those in advance. But with that, I'll just turn it over to council if you have any questions. It's still early. We're going to refine it into Q3. Hopefully the start of winter is delayed. But at this point, I can't predict what that final number is going to be. But
Thank you, Mike. To council, is there any questions for Mike? Not seeing any, then Mike, we look forward to the discussions in a couple weeks' time, and I'd be looking for someone to receive this report. So that is Councillor Basnet, and Councillor Finch would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. The roundabout for County Road 83 and Airport Line, the land acquisition finalization process is getting where we're looking for, and Susan is available for questions if there would be any. And if not, there's a prepared motion that someone might find acceptable. Councillor Finch would do that, and Councillor McClellan would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. Under correspondence, is there any specific item that anybody wants to pull from that list? Councillor Anderson, please.
Thank you, Warden. 14.1, the letter from Blue Water regarding the resolution of closures before and after school program. The closures of these before and after school programs is having a huge impact all across the county. And I would like to support that.
All right. Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Finch would second that. Go to council. Those in favor of that support? And that is carried. Anything else under this list? Councillor McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'd like to pull and support 14.9. It speaks to the income support thresholds for veterans. So I'd like to move that, please.
And would I have a seconder for that? That's Councillor Klopp. Those in favor? And that is carried as well. Any other correspondence that anybody wants to draw attention to? So then I'd be looking for a motion to accept the correspondence that was not specifically dealt with. Councillor Harding, seconded by Councillor Passwarden Ginn. Those in favor? That is carried. Under new and unfinished business, there's a notice of motion from September the 3rd, and that was moved by Councillor Vanstone and seconded by Councillor Harding, that the County of the Council of Huron requests staff prepare a report on the installation of photo radar devices to improve road safety within Huron County. And I'm going to turn it over to Councillor Vanstone if you would like to speak to this notice of motion that you put forward.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. I've looked at this a bit, and we have our people out there doing their due diligence. They put up signs to slow the traffic down. We have, and I hope everybody hear me, we have the signs put up. I live right in Ben Miller, so I can see it a lot closer than I can on other areas. So we've put the traffic signs up so that coming in, they're 70 and then 50 and through the thing. And the majority of the people, at least 50 or 60% do slow down, and but the other 40% don't, and they just fly through there at a very high rate of speed. Talking to a few of the OPP officers, they can't be everywhere. Okay, so they can monitor, and they do. I'm sure everybody sees them in different areas, and they do a really good job, but they can't be there all the time. So this device would help us in that way. I wouldn't want to see it be a cash cow like it has in some municipalities. They get a lot of money from it, but I just would like to see a report to see if it would work for the County of Huron, because I think it would be a real advantage for everybody if it would. So I thank you very much for that.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Vanstone. Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, through the warden, I'm just curious, if we're talking an actual photo radar, if I'm not mistaken, are we not limited to community safety zones for that? If this is more of a radar sign that you see in different spots, I would totally support that. I'm just curious if we can actually do that. Just looking to staff for a response.
And I believe it was Mike that was going to respond to that. Go ahead, Mike.
Through yourself, Warden. Just from my limited reading, it's community safety zones and school zones where we're able to place those.
Okay. Pass Warden McClellan, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Just a question to the applicants for this. Are we talking about having a few that get moved around, or are we talking about ones that are permanently placed in certain locations?
Would either the mover or seconder like to address that? Councillor Vanstone, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. And again, I get back to the fact that that's why I would like the report from the staff to see if they can be moved around, like maybe a bylaw. I don't know. This unknown territory for me. I do know London, they work very well in London. They've cut down the accident rate at a lot of places. It hasn't cost London hardly anything because of course they've got their money back through the fines and stuff. So, but as I said, I don't want it to handicap some poor guy and lose his license over it. So I think we should look at it, and that's why I say I really would like to see a report come back from our staff on it if at all possible.
All right, Councillor Klopp, please.
Yeah, in light of the fact that it's from what we think we understand, it's a supposed to be school zones, certain areas. Those are basically back in each municipality. I think that's where it should be put to. Each lower tier can make application, from what I understand of this process. So I think in light of the fact that it takes time for staff, I think I've heard enough information. I won't be supporting the motion.
Okay, anyone else? Pass Warden McNeil, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warden, and I have the same sentiments as Councillor Klopp. I think we've had a very clear direction from the Premier, his opinion of photo radar, and he's even maybe went as far as saying either you eliminate it in the respective areas or I will look after it for you. So I'm not sure that this is a good use of staff time to proceed with this at this time. Thank you.
Anything else from County Council? Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. And I'm not disagreeing with my colleagues on this with the regards to the photo radar part of it. But I think there's an opportunity here to seek out looking into actually having radar signs as we have in different parts of the municipalities that we have around us. We in South Huron have used the photo radar signs and they've been very successful. And I believe the county has them set up in Dashwood, correct? And I know that's been very successful. So perhaps we shouldn't abandon what we've got right now, maybe shift gears a bit and look at perhaps looking at more radar signs that do not give out tickets, but it makes the person aware because, you know, traffic safety is everyone's responsibility. That's what the OPP will tell you. And coming from my policing background, catching speeders, that's a reactive course. It's not a proactive way of doing things because someone's already speeding, you're catching them for speeding. Being proactive is putting radar signs out as we have in Dashwood, which is the busiest road in Huron County, as we know, and that's been very successful. So I think, you know, I think they're around $5,000 each approximately, and you can get a good quality one. I think an investment of that would save this motion, and I would support that as far as an investigation into that, as opposed to photo radar. And I just look to my friends who made the motion as their comments.
All right, Councillor Harding, please.
I think Imran has some knowledge, has researched some of the cost and things of this. And I'd like to draw on that in the decision making here because they looked at it when we were talking about the main corners intersection. So I think when Councillor Vanstone came to me with this motion, I couldn't not support it just so that he could maybe get some of this information for Imran to share without costing a lot of money in more studies. Because I think that is what Imran was telling me is the problem with this is the cost.
Imran, please, would you address that?
Thank you, Mr. Warden. Through you, I think we need some clarification as to what approach we're looking at. So the automated speed enforcement, if that's what we're looking at, that's a completely different thing. It requires a lot of, you need the provincial offenses and everybody involved, and it issues automatic tickets. If it's just speed display devices, the radars that just display the speed, that's a different approach that the county already is implementing in various areas. I think we have about a good number of them. I don't want to quote the number. I think there's about 15 to 20 of them, and we recycle them. And if we need to purchase more, we can certainly do so that we have more areas covered. But automated speed enforcement is a very sophisticated and advanced method that, would require a lot of research into, and the cost that would come to the county for that. So I'm not sure which one the council is requesting at this time.
Just for clarification, the notice of motion was very specific to photo radar. So that is what is on a table at the moment. So Councillor Finch, please.
Yes, and I agree with Imran on that completely. The automatic speed enforcement would be cumbersome and very costly. To achieve the same results, I think we need to go with a radar system as we use in Dashwood, just the speed measuring devices that do not issue tickets. I think we'd be very successful, and I think that would save this motion. I would hope most members of council be in support of this. I would think that our mover and seconder would be willing to change it from photo radar to something different. That way we are very clear we're not looking at doing a speed enforcement. We're just looking at a radar system that identifies what we have right now. So maybe make it more investment, having more investment into those types of devices rather than going with a advanced AESE. And I look to my friends for comment.
Okay, what I'm going to suggest is, because it was a notice of motion and the wording is presented ahead, I would like to do a vote on the motion as it's presented and see where that goes before we get a little bit into the weeds in the making amendments. So Councillor Klopp, please.
Just for clarification, I heard the word automated speed system. The motion reads photo radar. I have no trouble having two different names, but I want to make sure they mean the same. That's what we're voting. It's an automated speed system report.
It is a photo radar devices.
Well, then we already has been informed if we're using the term photo radar devices. Sorry. I think we already have a policy of that because we've been spending money in the county in budgets, a line item. We have in Bayfield, or sorry, he said we have about 20 of them. So I think the motion is redundant if that's what we're talking about.
Councillor Klopp, Imran is going to respond to help us make some clarification there. Please, Imran.
Thank you, Mr. Warren. So the two terminologies we use are automated speed enforcement and speed display devices. Photo radar is not a terminology that we use. I would equate that to automated speed enforcement though. So if hopefully that clarifies. Photo radar, because our speed display devices, they don't take photos. So a photo radar would be equivalent of automated speed enforcement.
He's explaining why I'm not sure which I'm voting on. If it's, sounds like I'm voted for automated speed system, even though it says photo radar. And as I said,
And I'm going to ask our clerk to just clarify so that we're all on the same page and understanding what we're looking at.
Okay, so Councillor Van Stone and I are the one that drafted this motion. I should have maybe had a consultation with Imran to get the proper terminology. Councillor Van Stone was looking for photo radar devices. That's the motion that came forward. We have a mover and a seconder. That's the motion we're going to look at right now. It is the same as automated speed enforcement. Okay. If you're not interested in voting for or in approving that, so that's the motion we're going to vote on right now. If you'd rather have a report on something else, we can certainly entertain something after the fact. But this is the one we're entertaining right now. Photo radar, which is the same as automated speed enforcement.
I hope that clarified, Councillor Klopp. So I am going to call the question for the notice of motion that is before you. Those that are in favor of this motion. Those that are opposed. And that motion is defeated. Is there a follow-up motion that anybody wants to put forward at this time? Councillor Finch, please.
Yeah, thank you. Through the warden, I request perhaps we insert the word speed display devices rather than using photo radar in this motion that was we just defeated. So staff report a installation of speed display devices to improve road safety within Huron County.
CAO Work is going to respond to that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, point of clarification, we already have those within the county. So I don't know if there's a specific, something that council would be looking for over and above what we already offer. We would be wanting to know specifically what council is looking for.
Councillor Van Stone, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Warden. The previous motion that was defeated was mainly brought forward for safety's sakes on our roads we could highlight the fact that we still have problems in our hamlets and in school areas. And I know we have one school area we've tried even putting those, I don't even call them beaver tails or whatever they are, on the center line to have people slow down at the schools, and they've run them down. So it's just to get something in place that we can have more safety for our people. So thank you.
Councillor Basnet, please.
Just for clarification purposes, before a new motion comes, this was handled in a notice of motion. So if a new motion comes, does it not have to be handled as a notice of motion once again?
That is a clerk question.
It certainly can. So it certainly can, depending on where we land on this discussion. However, because the intent, the original notice of motion came forward in the proper process, saying this is, we want to talk about road safety. We want to talk about how we're going to get this better, whatever, and photo radar was the option. We're having the fulsome discussion. It's not out of the blue. So we can go notice of motion, or we can request a staff report on something else, because we're already having the discussion. It was in a prepared agenda already. I'm okay with either one. It's up to you.
Past Warden McClellan and then Past Warden McNeil, please.
Thank you, Mr. Warden. This is something the county already offers, and it ends up being a budget item when we do budget. It gets put into the budget for how many signs we're going to install over the course of the next year. So the discussion always gets to county council to have that information available. We can discuss it at that time, because since it's not already in this year's budget to do more, it'll be in next year's budget. It'll be part of the budget item. The issue is already taken care of.
All right, Past Warden McNeil.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Warden. I concur with those comments. We already have these devices in place. We've been informed. So I think that's where it rests for me right now. Thank you.
All right. I'm prepared to move on if that's the case and look at our bylaws. Oh, my apologies, Councillor Harding. Go ahead.
My intent in seconding this motion was to get this for discussion in front of council. And I think we've accomplished that. And so I'm very pleased with the way this is going now, because it's been brought to all our attention about this. And that has always been my goal and continues.
Thank you for those comments. So we are going to go to our bylaws. There are 7 bylaws on the list, looking for a first, second, third, and final reading. Past Warden Ginn would do that, and Councillor McClellan would second that. Those in favor? And that is carried. We do have a close to the public session, so I'd be looking for a motion now to enter into closed session. So Councillor Heffer and Past Warden McNeil would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. All right, I'd be looking for a motion to go back into open session of council. So Past Warden McNeil, Councillor Harding would second that. Those in favor, and that is carried. And I'm going to ask our CAO of Work to give a report out of closed session.
Thank you very much. Through you, Mr. Warden, the purpose of going into closed session today was for council to receive an update report on the security of the property of the municipality relating to the homes of the aged.
Thank you, Megan. Under upcoming meetings, just want to make you aware of the special session for this service delivery strategy that will be taking place October 8th and 9th. And as Mike made us aware earlier in our meeting, this is an opportunity to better prepare us for the upcoming budget season. So please make sure that you can join us for those 2 days. Would someone like to confirm our actions for this morning? That's Councillor Klopp, seconded by Councillor Vanstone. Those in favor? That is carried. And I don't know how we're going to do this. Councillor Heffer, would you be willing to adjourn us? And Councillor McClellan would second that. Those in favor? That is carried. Thank you for your attention this morning.